Well, Mark, I only know Alan Merritt because I was in Beach Home in 1971. I was there for 2 years, and when I left there, they put me into a mental hospital at 13 years old. My mum got a barrister and got me released and got the social worker sacked. We're going back to 1973. I'm now 63 years old. Alan Merritt, he is a two-faced cunt. That man will side with anyone, whatever suits him at the time. He's not a genuine person. All the people that Alan's mixed up with, they're all nutcases. They're all crazy. I think that he buys them. I think he gives them money. When you see them going out to dinner, I think he pays for everything. His wife was called Kathy. Well, when Kathy died, Kathy's knees put up. While my aunt was in the hospice dying, that thing, Alan Merritt, was going up and down the motorway on his jolly way, going to all different demos. He drew all the money out of the bank and said all the gold was stolen. Now he's loaded with money from Kathy's death. He didn't give a shit about. Well, he wants to have it off with that Auntie Marie. He told me he wanted to lick her cunt out and fuck her and all that. He's a dirty old sod. He's only 5 years older than I am. Cancelled my subscription to Wake Up UK because Alan Merritt was running gay people down, and I'm a gay man, and so was Sue Peake. I've fallen out of her as well. Another woman called Jackie Lowry, this fat ugly thing. He was just really irritated me, Alan Merritt. I don't give a shit what happens to him. If somebody smashes his face in, it will serve him right. He's got too big-headed. He thinks he's John Wedger. He thinks he's a bloody journalist. He's no journalist. What? He comes from the same area that I come from, in Hammersmith, Shepherd's Bush in London. We come from exactly the same place. He comes from the slums. That's where he comes from. I know where he lives because I come from the same place. But I live in Christchurch in Dorset. I live near the sea. I've got a 2-bedroom house, but I have to pay bedroom tax. And also, Mark, if he really loved his wife, he wouldn't have been going to demos while his wife was dying in the hospice. He would have stayed by her side. But Alan Merritt, he thinks he knows it all, done it all. When he's with Tinkerbell and, Andy Marie, he's buying them and giving them all money. I'm sure of it. I'm sure that he buys people because he's loaded with money. Well, all I can say, Mark, is that Alan Merritt is fucking stupid. He gets himself involved with some really stupid people.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Unapologetic. I just wanted to give a big shout out to Piers Corbyn. We've had Piers Corbyn on the show, the late night veteran show. I hate saying that now. These are a couple of his leaflets, just there. And I got this in Liverpool the other week on the demo there. But them are Piers Corbyn's leaflets. Now, I don't agree with everything on him. He always has a go at Tommy. He's pro-Palestine, but he also talks a lot about a lot of sense on things like WEF and WHO, vaccines and all that lot. You can't doubt his knowledge on that, and that's why we've interviewed him before. I've interviewed him on WHO, WEF, and I also ask questions like who funds these people. This is what I've done, talking to people about issues, so nobody can question me that I don't look into or don't find out about these things. But we've had him on, and he's a big lefty, but I've got to say I do like Piers Corbyn. I do. He knows who I am, and hopefully maybe we should be getting him on the streams again. But then Piers' leaflets, just want a big shout out to our man Piers Corbyn, very sensible, logical, common sense thinking man. Anyway, we've had Alan Merritt on there. We've had 3 minutes of Alan Merritt and, accusations and things like that. And when I started to speak out, One of the things the left do, they like to Google up your name, especially if you show your name. And I've never been one to hide my name or anything like that. Yes, Emma. All right, MGA. All right. Thank you very much. Yes, Marion. Thank you. Thank you very much. Marion Moore in the chat there. One of my longest time good supporters is our Marion there. So I started to speak out next. Then they came up one time. There was a post off someone on the left, whoever they are, the Antifas, whoever they are on X. And it was an article to a John Lawrence who'd been convicted of raping a woman. And like 5 minutes, 2 minutes, Googling, you find out that it's a white guy who's more than 10 years younger than me. But the article didn't show any picture, but they showed out, oh, is this you? This is what they're like. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, patriots are like that. Unfortunately, guys, patriots are so like that. You've seen us putting stuff up about Tanya on TikTok, Glenn Safford and all them lot, accusing people of rape. You know what I mean? And you just couldn't make it up. So are these people the same? Are they the same? Do they have the same mental capabilities? If both sides are doing it, the left are doing it, and like the right, the so-called right or patriot movement are doing it. Are they the same? Yes, they are. They are the same kind of nasty, horrible people who can only go to social media and say things about others. You know, like I've proven, I've proven that when I want to research something, I go to the source, me. When I want to research something, I go to the court cases. I've even been to the Royal Courts of Justice in looking as a member of the public, looking into these court cases and listening what's being said in the court. So I've done this already. I don't just flap around and say things that I've seen other people do. I don't do that. I go to the court cases. What else have I done? I've talked to victims and families all connected to child sexual exploitation. That's what I've done a lot of. So I have a very big insight on a level that other people just wouldn't. You know, we do see about it. And yet a lot of people do know people who've been involved in it. But when you go to the court cases, you look deep dive into the councils and the people around all the cases, you get perspective. And these are the kind of things I do, me. These are the kind of things I do. I just don't make shit up. I go and investigate. I'll get the person on the show who can tell me about it. That's why we talked a lot when we had the late night veteran show. Sorry, that's Darren's horrible show. When we had that, we talked a lot about mental health. I did talk a lot about mental health to do with men, because that is a big issue with me, if anybody knows it. Around mental health, the veterans' mental health. We talked about men in the prison system and how they're affected, especially like the British English-speaking man. Why do I say that? Because the biggest section of community within the prisons is the white male, who's the one who commits suicide most. We've been through all this before, but then followed up by like West Indians, them kind of people who are English-speaking and westernized. They're so under, you know, they're so overrepresented within mental health issues and suicides and stuff like that in prisons. We talked about this. We've had veterans on who talked about it. We've had civilians on who've talked about it. And I've given you statistics before and everything like that. So, you know, like we talk about these things. But getting back to it, but what is it with people when they say things and they accuse people of things online, especially them Glenn Safford lot? And I've heard on the grapevine that some of them are like creeping back with apologies and stuff like that after finding out that other people are shady when we knew they were shady anyway. And, you know, like I've always supported the PTSD camp, and I've had a Twitter account for 10 years. And since the camp got raided, I've been proactive on Twitter, on tweeting that the organisations that have put the camp down. Let me just get one of them up now. Let's get a tweet up. So this is a tweet I'm working on at the moment. Let me give you a bit of a rundown. Liars at the Jewish Chronicles, I've tagged them in it, the Good Law Project, and Simon Fell, former Member of Parliament for Cumbria, complicit in bringing fake news and influencing our police and politicians. The NHP UK say no more to groups like the Friends of Israel in our UK political parties. Now, not just the Friends of Israel, we have the Friends of Palestine, we have the Friends of Israel, we have the Friends of every other country except we don't have Friends of Britain. You know, we don't. Our politics is influenced by other people. And I even mean Elon Musk. He offered to give reform money. No. If I don't want the if I don't want the Middle East Forum giving our politicians influence with money, I don't want Elon Musk influencing with money. We want everyone outside of England not influencing us with money. And you talk to other people, any kind of demographic, explain what you're saying, and they'll say the same thing. We don't want them foreign influences. They don't help us. So while we've been doing the late night veteran show with that horrible, nasty Darren Edmondson, who has skipped bail, but we don't know what's happening with him. He's been arrested or anything, or when he's been in court. I've been trying to search, but I haven't found anything. But he skipped bail, so he's in the shit. But yeah, so Jewish Chronicle, they did an awful article on the camp and like Nazi and far right. Now, Patriotic Alternative sent a hamper to that camp once, and because someone at the camp has talked to someone within that party, they have to put up all that as well, all these other people, and you know the links to them like through 6 people. So if you know somebody who's part of a different group, that makes you complicit in everything that group does. This is how these people work. But yeah, so liars. NHP UK says no more to groups like Friends of Israel and our UK's political parties and any kind of foreign influences, even Elon Musk. And if the camp gets raided again, you can pay the bill. Because on the last article, the Jewish Chronicle, Good Law Project, Samfeld said the camp should be investigated. And when it got raided last time, there was no further action after 3 years. So, you know, like, I don't like swearing or anything like that. I want to be a counsellor, but I'm allowed to swear under these circumstances. And you know, like, I don't just make shit up, me. I go to the source. So what happened was in the MP general election hustings we had the last, I come down to Bath and I took Darren Edmondson, nasty sounding name that, and we went to the hustings and I questioned all them MPs on people influencing us from 3,000 years ago. So just Big John just don't go to fucking social media and say a few words. I go to where it's the action's happening. So I went to the MPs hustings in Frome and I called out every single one of them MPs, and afterwards I told all the local councillors what to talk to me, and I said about what the camp's been through, and there's been no further action. So did anybody else do that for the camp? I'm listening. I don't think so. I don't think anybody went that far. I did. I went to the MP hustings. I met all the councillors and the local councillors of the area, and I fucking grilled them on why that camp got raided for £1 million raid, and their public money were paying for it. That's how much I went to defend the camp. And I planned it in advance, guys. Can ask Joe, can ask anybody at that camp now, but that's what I did. So, you know, like I said, I don't just go to social media and say a few words. I'll actually go to the hustings. And if the other week, Jeremy Corbyn was in Oldham, and I went down to where he was having his conference. I went down. I never seen him, But I talked to all the conference goers outside. I went straight down me. I'd only just got back from bloody Bath that day. And less than 2 hours later, I headed down to where the conference was and walked around the corner live streaming. So I don't just fucking say bullshit on social media like the rest of you. I actually do the actions and follow through with them and stuff like that. There's countless times where I've been to the mayor's question time. But, you know, anyway, I'm going off track, bigging myself up that I do these kind of things. I am. I'm sorry. I've got to apologise. Got to apologise. I am bigging you up, bigging myself up a little bit. But it's all provable stuff. If you want to go and look at the mayor's question time, I've been to 6 or 7 and I get a question in every question time. And I set about things that are very controversial and very hush-hush, and I bring them up in the mayor's question time, like bringing up youth violence. Why have we got 15, 16-year-olds stabbing each other in the street in front of Andy Burnham? And when you see his reply, his face has gone blue because I've just brought up so much like trauma and local cases while everyone else is going on about pathetic things. John brought up what he thought was important, like kids being killed. You know what I mean? So, you know, so these are the things you can expect to me. Not going to social media with fake claims of this, that, and the other and accusing people of doing things. I just don't do it. I don't do it. And if I want to research something, I'll go and find out the research and go and carry it on. Let me tell you about the Royal Courts of Justice. Big case. Big case. Big case. Bradley Gledhill. He was killed by a gang and it eventually got to Leeds Crown Court. I went up on the day of sentencing and the court was absolutely rampacked. And then the 6 people involved in the case got done for various crimes and got so much time. Then the family, Bradley's family, mainly his mum and his oldest sister, they took the case to the Royal Courts of Justice to get extra time on the case. And let me just not show you any bullshit. Oh, first of all, that tweet's going. I'm sending that tweet off now with a link to the stream. They might not watch it. And as we're going through the thing now, I'll copy the link and I'll post it on like this Labour Party post. I'll go in it and I copy my link to it like that, the link to my stream on there, and that's what I'll do while I'm live. I am live actually. Yeah, I am. Yeah, and I'll do that while we're live. So that's what I'll do. And the Jewish Chronicle will get it on all their posts. Good Law Project get it on all their posts, and anyone else I've mentioned will get it on their posts. That's how I do it. But anyway, so let's get Bradley Gledhill up. So it ended up going to Royal Courts of Justice. Now, while it was in the courts in Leeds, the legal representation of these 6 people, and I think there was 3 legal representatives of all 6, between them. 1 for 2, one for 2 sets of 2, and 1 for 1, or something like that. I don't know, but it was 3, something like that. And the so done, these legal people, they made the same mistakes in the Royal Courts of Justice that they made in the courts, the Crown Courts in Leeds, the same mistake. I'm not going to go into it too much, but they made the same kind of legal mistakes that they made in both cases, and these were people representing people, and they were ethnic minorities. But you could say that the mistakes he made was like trying to use political correctness against the case. It's just really. But I went to the Royal Courts of Justice, guys. I didn't just like follow the case online. I ended up meeting up with Bradley's mum, and Bradley's sister, who sort of like, she was the one who approached me and got onto me because she's seen me talking about the case. And there's the similar kind of cases that I talked about like this across Manchester. And one of them was in Oldham. And, I've just got an issue of teenagers killing other teenagers. So she connected with me, and I ended up meeting them in London at the Royal Courts of Justice, where they did get extra time on the case to do with the guys. So, like I said, you see me, that's me. Going to court, checking things out for myself. I go to the areas where these things happen. I go to, I reported on murders in Bury, East Street in Bury. And then we've had a couple of youth crime incidents, Moston and stuff like that. And I go to the place where these things happen to me. I go right to the area. I don't care what kind of area it is. I go to that area asking questions. And so that's me. So, proactive, not disruptive and productive. That's me. Sort of like catchphrase. I'm not disruptive and productive. And the left have always got to give you a disruptive, kind of feel towards you so that people get, but people aren't seeing that now. What people are seeing with the left and the media is their absolute corruption and biasness against the normal working class people. We're not having it. We're absolutely not having it, guys, right? I'm not, but it's even more so now. So that's John. Not one of these bloody sheep on TikTok who'll start calling people with not even knowing the person or anything like that. And sorry, 99% of you patriots don't know what you're talking about. You don't. Have you been to the court cases? Have you interviewed the people involved in the cases? Have you talked about it? Have you brought it up in the Greater Manchester Mayor's question time? Well, I have, to go that far to find out about the case. But sorry, 99% of you do not do that. And not that connected or into solving things. If you were, we wouldn't be in this situation right now, guys. I promise you we won't be. If some of you would wake up and stop being bloody sheep, right? Stop being sheep. You've just got to get that into. You've got to do your own thing. Connect with people and work within communities and stuff. That's what you've got to do. Not be not following people who are paid off by foreign entities and stuff like that. Not being following the false narrative that we see on the media, because the media are corrupt, whether you're left or right. Everyone's got to agree that the media are corrupt and they're biased, and they put a story out that they want you to hear that sounds really bad, because everything they've said about that PTSD camp is lies. Because why did they raid it, spend £1 million on a 5-day raid, and then no further action after 3 years? You just couldn't make it up. And I will always be on the side of the person who's just had that done to him, which is Joe and Dion, and it's all false and everything. Then what it is, when people fall out with the camp, they say things like, oh, that camp got raided, it's an extremity, they were training up. This is what they say. Honestly, you patriots are fucking pathetic. You can hear the sheep in background. I want everyone to hear that. I want you all to hear that. 2 minutes. You can have a minute of that. Have me a minute. No, you're not Dorothy. And I can tell you that Dorothy is one of them 1% that should be revered. Is our Dorothy in the chat? Good evening, Dorothy Lord there. Oldham's premier activist and public speaker. Our Dorothy. And if you want to hear our Dorothy speak, actually, you are speaking on the 18th of this month, aren't you? In Rochdale, outside the town hall on a Saturday for Billy at Pag UK Billy. So 18th of October, which is it's next Saturday. Next Saturday. Dorothy, Oldham's premier activist and public speaker, is speaking in Rochdale. If you want to hear something, go get down here, Dolly. And Dolly is one of them 1%. There is a lot in the 1%. And when I know it sounds bad, 99%, but 1% is a lot of people. It is a lot of people, especially within my circle. It's a lot of people. But then the other 99% are all the sheep. You know what I mean? But there we go. And I'm sorry, guys. I know some of you don't like it, but it's unapologetic. And I feel like this because I've been triggered a couple of times over the past month by fake people like Alan Murray, Glenn Saffer, and stuff, and people who don't know me talking about my ex-dead girlfriend. So I've been triggered. So I don't give a fucking shit what I say on this show. Sorry if it's a bit X-rated, and if you're a kid, you shouldn't be listening to me swear, and it's not a nice thing. But like I said, I've been triggered. And everyone else, when they get triggered, are all offended and start saying nasty things on it, start reporting people and accusing them of fake things. But I won't. I'm triggered. I'll just tell you the truth. I'll just tell you the bloody truth. That's what I'll tell you. So anyway, let's get on to something. Let's get another video up. I think we've got James Goddard to thank for this video. We'll get this up. It's a 6-minute. Gives me a little bit of a break. I'll have a puff of a fag. But we'll get the video up. 6 minutes. And James Goddard talks about everyone's not favourite Glenn Saffer.
Look, I fought for this fucking country, right? I fought for this country. I'm a fella.
I was never been a veteran, right?
I fought for this fucking country, right? I fought for this country.
I was never been a veteran, right? And I was.
This is Glenn Saffer. Is this a man you can trust? Is this a man you want playing a role in remigration protests? He openly calls for violence against people whose politics he disagrees with. He threatens to send his black and mixed-race friends round to the houses of nationalists. I don't believe you can trust him, and I certainly don't believe a man like this should be campaigning for the safety of women and children, given what you're about to find out in this video. Buckle up, it's time for the truth about Saffer.
The nonce allegations and accusations. What you're about to hear is a message that was sent by an anonymous source to Glenn Saffer. Forwarded, why don't you back off, you nonce, or karma will bite you in the ass. Stop trying to chase the fame. You're a liability to the main cause and to all the way up. Stop trying to be a glory hunter and a selfish cunt for your own purpose and think of the bigger picture. For fuck's sake, you're a wrong'un, and need to sit silent before someone gets wind of your sex with a minor charge and that fucks up the man we can't mention. Use your fucking brain, ya prick. Stop looking for your own fame, bollocks, use your head, ya thick cunt. Because I'm sick of knowing the truth and others are too. Fuck off and do what's right. For the bigger picture. Because your past will jeopardize everything. By all accounts, Glenn Saffer was charged and convicted in 1984 for sex with a minor. In layman's terms, that makes him a nonce. At the end of 2018 or the start of 2019, Saffer's daughter wrote a distressing post on Facebook saying that her dad was a paedophile. She then received a phone call off a certain somebody demanding she take the post down as it could ruin his movement. The last time allegations surfaced and was spoken about was a few years ago. However, due to tragic death of Glenn's son, Saffer went AWOL, but the allegations remained to people in the know. For context, a couple of my anonymous sources grew up with Saffer in East London. Glenn disappeared from London in about 1983-1984 as West Ham fan. He then resurfaced in Norwich as a Tottenham fan. Very, very bizarre. So if these allegations are lies and he hasn't been convicted, then he'll have no problem releasing his criminal record, will he?
Glenn,
I noticed you've got a VIN hoodie on.
Yes.
Could you tell me about the VIN hoodie?
Yeah, the very neat is there's 6 veterans involved.
Yeah.
It's all charity registered. It's going to be charity registered. With the show at the moment, just waiting for a charity registered number, which could take up.
Now for the truth about VIN. This fake charity was set up between Safa and his fellow grifters. Here's where it gets sinister. Sarah Baker, along with her husband James Baker and stable hand Darren Laker, was sentenced in February 2024 for causing unnecessary suffering to a group of Shetland ponies and other animals at their horse therapy centre, Family Nest Therapy, in Parr, Cornwall. The couple received suspended prison sentences and were banned for life from owning any animals, following the discovery of the ponies in a severely emaciated and neglected state, with some having bones showing through their skin and paint from children's parties still on their coats. The case, which involved 14 horses and ponies, a donkey, and a goat, was described by the judge as one of the worst cases of animal neglect he had ever seen. Just to clarify, Sarah Baker and James Baker
9:37 a.m.
Right. We've only gone a couple of minutes into it. I can't go through it all. It's horrible. But, you know, like, some of these people are creeping back and stuff like that. Just let me tell you, there's no animal abusers going to that camp. I'll tell you that right now. And I speak for Joe and Dion as well on this firmly. We don't have people like that, like near that camp. We don't, because there is therapy there with the animals that we have at the camp. And anybody who's been to the camp can tell you this. Even the ones who at the camp now could even tell you that, but they'll lie and say different things. You just couldn't make it up what people are like. But thank you very much, chat. This is Unapologetic. My name's John Lawrence. Got triggered a couple of months ago, and I've not stopped. And every Friday, I'll bring you down with facts and stuff like that. I'll email you. We'll do emails over the next few months. And we'll be looking at stuff like, I'm going to do some TikTok videos, but we'll be looking at stuff like this book by Rini Edo Lodge, Why I'm No Longer Talking. And you can't see it, but it says to white people because it's in white, about race. We'll be talking about books like this, which are Sunday Times bestseller, but are bullshit books full of inaccuracies and stuff like that. Full of inaccuracies and stuff. So we talk about things like that. And like I said, you know, like I don't just talk about something without having to read the book or anything. So there's 2 books here that I've had to read, and they're horrible reads. If anyone knows anything about books and the kind of books that we have out now, these are horrible books to read. And I've read these 2 books a couple of times each to really soak in some of the facts and stuff like that, and some of the lies. So because it is Black History Month actually this month, but we'll talk about these books in further things. If you watch my TikTok, I'll be talking about them in my TikTok, calling them out. And there's people on TikTok with millions of followers who swear on these kind of books, and they're false. Guys are false. They don't tell you the right truth. They tell you a one-sided story. And they've always got to bring like that horrible word like racism into it. Well, that's what's in these books. And these this one is something that you find in a kid's school, believe it or not, and it is full of lies and inaccuracies. You just couldn't make it up. So, you know, like I said, John, don't just like listen to the post that says about something in a book. I go out and buy the book. And I've got a shelf full of books that I've had to buy because they say things wrong in them, and I want to read the books myself. That's just one of the unfortunate things you got to put up with me. And I'm not one for like reading it in 2 days. The first time I read this took me a couple of months. Then the second time I read it, I did it in a week. And the same goes for this book. Couple of months at the beginning, sort of like chapter after chapter for a couple of months. And then the second time I read it for within a week. So that's how I read. I've always read my books from when I was like 12 years old. That's how our teacher taught me to read the books. So yeah, so you know, there's further to the things that I do and stuff like that. And you know, I'm not saying I'm particularly intelligent. I'm not, but like I've got good common sense and I've got good morality of knowing what's right and wrong. And that's what I try to express in my daily time. Anyway, 12 o'clock tomorrow, 12 till 2 p.m. every Saturday, Victoria Hotel, Oldham. That's where people will be. That's where we want to see people. It's a lovely day tomorrow as well. So you haven't really got any excuses. We've had bad rain a couple of weeks, but it's a lovely day tomorrow. No rain. There's a very wide area where we stand. You can bring seats or chairs. There is parking just a bit further down the road, and you're only there a couple of hours, so that's all right. Turn up, come and turn up, talk to me, see what I feel about the hotels that we've got. Now, you know, straight away, as a wannabe local councillor, I should be thinking about community first. So the first thing I think about is the impact these hotels have on the community areas. I was the first person to go to the Victoria Hotel, and you're not going to believe it, 2021, 4 years ago, it's been housing migrants, and I was the first person to go, and I talked about antisocial behaviour then, and I still talk about that kind of thing now. And I tried to interview some migrants about if they're seeing a doctor, and why I wanted to know that was, then if they are seeing a doctor, is it a private doctor or is it one of our NHS doctors? And we know that some of them have been seeing private doctors. So 4 years ago, I was there outside the hotel, my suit on, campaigning as I have done in the Oldham ward, that 4 years span, reporting on that hotel. I know it's gone big, I know people go now, but I've been going 4 years, and I go every so many months. I go to that hotel and report outside that hotel. So I was one of the first to go to that hotel. Now, I know it's all big now, this big thing with hotels, but it's an issue that got to be dealt with. But as a wannabe local councillor, I've got to protest against what effect that hotel has on the local community first. Not where these people have come from. Why? I've got to protect my local community first, and that's what I'm trying to do with Moston, Failsworth West, Chadderton South, and Oldham, which are all the areas surrounding that hotel. And I'm trying to think about the community and the impact on community first. So why should I think about that? Because there's been some pretty serious recorded incidents. One of them is a man being raped by 3 other men. And as there is an article in the paper about it, but it doesn't say by the police whether these 3 men were from the hotel, but locals tell me that they were. So that's one serious thing. So that's really, so that's 3 men raped a man on that Failsworth Canal just a bit further up. Antisocial behaviour at the Morrisons round the corner, the big Morrisons. There's been several reports of antisocial behaviour, and people have been telling me over these 4 years about antisocial behaviour in the area. Whether or not any local councillor has been contacted, I don't know. So what I did an email to all the councillors connected to them areas that I said. I put links to Yorkshire Rose going in and them claiming, the auditors claiming there was a call centre in the back. I also put the link up to the article to the man being raped on the Failsworth Canal just a bit further up on the canal. And I put that link up and I emailed the councillors expressing concern over them issues, because people in them areas had expressed them kind of concerns with me. So that's what I was doing. So I didn't have any answer off anybody except for one councillor did come down who was Abdul Wahid of the Oldham Group. He came down, promised us he'd try and look into the hotel, but since then he said he's been blocked from like inquiring into it and asking dodgy questions. But further on, I'm going to push Abdul further to more investigate it, because he's one of the serving councillors in Oldham. So when I've been doing my past elections, I've been up against him, and he has communicated. I do like some of the things he said in the council meetings, especially about child sexual exploitation. What he said in the meeting, now, you know, you can believe him or you can't believe him, but what he said in that meeting was that it's unfair to be branding everyone far right who speaks out about child sexual exploitation when it happened. That's what he said in the meeting, and I can respect the guy for saying that, because that's what it is. That, you know, we're speaking out against something that's been proved that has been happened in Oldham, and we know that the police and the council are complicit in keeping people silent over this. We know this. This is all factual stuff. And he did say that in the council meeting. So I've got to give him some points and respect for that. And anybody with any kind of common sense or morality has to do the same. And we can't say that everybody is going to be covering up. So he did come down, Abdul Wahid did come down. I respect him that he came down to talk to people outside the hotel. So I'm going to have further contact with Abdul, and I'm going to impress on him that we want more of this debate brought up. You know, Tameside don't have any hotels full of migrants. Tameside don't. It's up to the council whether these properties get done. But then again, I don't want them moving out of the hotels. I'd rather lock them up in the hotels, give them 3-month amnesty to get out of the country. If they don't, they get a 3-year prison sentence. That's on our party policy. That's what I would love to happen. But no person in government will attempt to say anything about the 1951 Refugee Convention. They won't go this far on these people. Even Reform aren't doing good enough. They said they're going to deport all these people, but if they don't exit the 1951 Refugee Convention, these people will still keep coming in. So we'll just be deporting people, and they'll be coming in, and when they get deported, they'll come again illegally, try to get in again illegally, which they have been doing, and we've proven cases of this. So that's not good enough. We've got to have a permanent solution, which is to exit the 1951 Refugee Convention. Then anybody who's illegal, asylum, not a British citizen, will get a 3-month amnesty to get out of the country. Otherwise, they get a 3-year sentence. It's as blunt and as simple as that. That's in our policies. But tonight's not about policies. It's unapologetic, guys, and I'm telling you the real chat, not no sheeple bullshit that you see on Facebook and all that, accusing because someone's talked to somebody, then that you got to accuse them of something, or you got to talk to them. You can't talk to this person, you can't talk to that person. Nobody tells me who I can talk to or not, and I've gone mad at people for even saying who I talk to or not. I've gone mad at people, and they know who they are. I've gone mad at them when they say, "Oh, you shouldn't be talking to this person." Nobody tells me who I talk to or not, especially not a sheep, especially not a barber. But anyway. 45 minutes, I'm still going. Yes, Marion. Yes, I remember that. Yes, Marion. But you know, we're not allowed to talk about these things, especially when it involves minority communities. This is a whole climate of things. And you wouldn't believe what I'm going through with housing associations in the police. There will be a video coming out, but there's people who I know who are under threat of being charged with crimes that they haven't committed, and to do with they said something about an immigrant or not. And you know, in Oldham and as far as in Bath, and they're coming under like hate crime sort of like things. I can't say a lot at the moment because it's on dodgy territory at the moment with 2 of the cases. One lad I've got to be, he's got to see the police the end of this month, and I'm going with him, and this is in Oldham. So one lad's got to see the police the end of the month. They're trying to charge him with an hate crime when it wasn't that. And he was attacked as well, and they're trying to charge him with an hate crime, and they've got the housing association involved. He's been given a warning on his house, and he's not even been committed of a crime. So this is coming up at the end of this month, so I'm going to go to the police station with him. I've already been to the police station with him in Manchester, Great Manchester Central Park. I've already been to the housing with him as well, so I'm gonna go to this court case because it's wrong. What they're saying is totally wrong, and there's no evidence. And if there is evidence, that it's just on say-so. It's just on say-so. But they've messed up a couple of times. They've given this lad information that they shouldn't have really given him, and they have given it him. And we're going to go to town on him when we get to the police station and the courts. Honestly, it's just, I'm not going to back down. And the same thing, you know, I think it like, you think, well, you know, it's a 1 in a million. There's a similar kind of case going on right now in Bath, which is like 3.5 hours away in a car, 100 and odd whatever miles in Somerset. And exactly the same thing. Now, if I could show you the 2 letters the lad got and this person got in Bath, they're almost identical, and they're going for an hate crime. They're going for an hate crime, and they're getting the councils involved in getting people booted out of their houses because people feel offended. Honestly, guys, this is going on right now. That's all I can say. I can't say anymore because, like, I just can't. I can't, and I would be totally I'm giving it the police and the councils and stuff like that. But, you know, and these are the difficult things that we have to put up with, but that's going on right now. Anyway, so let me, I'm looking at my phone so I can see the messages in the chat. I can't see them on the screen. My screen's mashed up and it doesn't show like messages or anything. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. Patriotic Paul. I can't believe I met you the other week. Where were it now? Right. I know, Paul. I know. Oh, thank you, guys. It's unapologetic, guys. I'm not going to apologize for anything said. If you feel offended, then good, you should do. And what I've got to say, you've got to do more. You've got to stand up in your community. You've got to show your face. You've got to try and deal with issues within your community. You've got to stick up for people within your communities. I'm sticking up for people who've had issues with the council. I've supported people who were homeless to get homes. I haven't supported, but I have deeply got into talking to people. I got a call in my last election the day before, and it was off a grandma. And in this grandma's family, a daughter and a granddaughter have been victims of child sexual exploitation in Oldham. And this is the kind of thing I had to go around to someone's house on the day before my election and listen to these people go on. And what it come to was that the granddaughter got to 18 and she sort of like not been given any kind of support from social services or the council when she gets to 18 because they're classed as an adult. And it puts them in very tenable situations where they can have kids took off them and stuff like that. And I see this a lot within the system. They might get to 18 or whatever, then they're like cut off. You've got to deal with life yourself, even though some of them still have ongoing issues and need support. And I don't know if it were me. I did one video, and then apparently the girl got moved into a property that she wanted because they weren't going to give her a property, and she had a young child. So, you know, like, that's the day before my election, in Hollingwood, where I'm running to be a councillor, and that's what I find out the day before my election. And I'm sorry, guys, like, if any of you, you know, like, that's like shocking stuff to find out the day before the election. And you know, the grandma said to me, she's, you know, I've been following you for a while, John, and you know, like, you speak sense and that you're not one-sided. She said you're not on our word. That's what she said. Because I'm not. I want accountability of police, councils, the social services. These people are all guilty of failing our children. It's not just the councillors. It's not just the police. It's not just the perpetrators. All the social services and people involved in councils are guilty and of not supporting people within communities. And how do we know this? Because they say it happened in Rotherham, it happened in Telford, and it happened in Rochdale. Them three different places in the country. The failure was off the councils, the police, social services. People connected with the councils is why all these girls got failed. And it's all out there. So I had to find that out the day before I had an election. So, you know, on the day of the election, when I went round to her house and I spent about an hour at the house, had a brew, she told me this, that, and the other. I talked to a couple of the girls in question. I talked to them and had a chat and all that lot. Since then, she'd been given a property, this girl. She's got an house now and all that. But, like, then that was all on my mind for the next week. I couldn't not think about it for the next week, what I've been told the day before my election. Honestly, guys, this is what I have to go through, standing up to be a person. But the thing is, even though it's bad and I did get upset, I felt angry. My upsetness was anger. That's what my upsetness was anger. That's the main thing. When I get angry, my tears well up in my eyes. It's a real good sign in me. And I was angry. I was so angry that, like, they'd not been dealt with. They'd sort of like been cut off. And you're 18 now. That's it. You're on your own. You know, there you go. See you. Don't slam door on your way out. That's what the social services were like with them. And it's just not acceptable, guys. I don't know about you. Don't know what about you lot think, but it's not acceptable to me, not with my morals. And then for the next week, all the next day when I were in the election, I was thinking about it. And then, like, the few days after the election, I was thinking about it as well. And, you know, it was just horrible, you know, like, so, you know, that's why I fight, guys. That's why I speak out as much as I do. I want accountability for all these kind of issues we have within our communities, and that I want police held, I want people held accountable for the failings. I really do. You know, that's how I feel, and you know, I think it's a right way to feel that I want all this. I'm just going to check some comments. Oh, thank you, Dorothy. Dorothy Lord, Oldham's premier activist and public speaker is our Dorothy. Definitely. Well, guys, I've come up to an hour. And let me see what video we've got for going out. I think it was a big long one, but I'll leave that out. I'll put in. Yeah, we'll have 30 seconds with Alan Murray slagging Nobby off at Scampton. The scumbags at Scampton. We'll go through, we'll talk about Scampton another day. So let's briefly finish off. I don't know what's happening with Darren Edmondson. He had been arrested for missing police questioning or going into police station. So we don't know what's happened there. I don't think there's been much action off him since. I'll just double check. No, there hasn't been anything for a good couple of weeks on the late night veteran show. So I don't know what's happened with Darren. I don't know if he's locked up. Well, hopefully he's locked up. He's locked up. He's locked up. He's got a drug issue and it needs to be taught a lesson. So, you know, I hope he is locked up. Really, I do hope. I think that's best for him. It's best for him. 2 reasons. He's got drug issues and he needs to be taught a lesson. And I think getting locked up is going to get taught that lesson. So that's what I think that should happen to him. But yes, so thank you to the Jewish Chronicle, Simon Fell MP, Good Law Project, and anyone else who slags that camp off, because you're going to be paying the £1 million when you think the camp needs raiding again. They said that even after the camp got raided, they said it should be investigated again. That's what they said. You know, and I've called out all the local councillors, all the MPs who were running in the election. They all seen me at that hustings, and I absolutely stuck up for the camp and called them all out on hypocrisy. I said that camp got raided. There was no further action after 3 years. So who pays £1 million police bill? Who pays that? I said to one of the councillors. She's had to, well, there you go. I said, well, you know, and I said, I said this how I'm talking to him in the council meeting, in the hustings. I said, I got my phone out, Jewish Chronicle, showed him, who's this Jewish Chronicle saying things? And I pointed out that we shouldn't be talking about Palestine because when we went to the hustings, they're all Palestine. I said, it's a MP hustings for the United Kingdom. So why aren't you talking about local issues? And I stuck up for veterans there, and I said they should be talking about veterans, and that was recorded. And in the recording, you can hear me in the background shouting out, above and beyond the call of duty is Big John. Where I can, I might not be the best social media influencer. I might not be the best this, that, or the other. But I am good at getting to meetings and calling things out at public meetings, and that's what I did. Anyway, this is Unapologetic. My name is John Lawrence. Tuesday, guys, 8 p.m. We're live streaming. We're talking about Christianity and a bit of faith. We're going to have the mighty Paul Rimmer on as well. He'll give us a good insight and talk to. But, you know, we're going to talk about Christianity and having some faith. So, Unapologetic. No to digital ID. Big up my man Piers Corbyn. I'll message Piers and we'll get him on a show. We'll get him on one of the Unapologetic shows, and we'll talk about his leaflet and all that lot. And thank you very much to everyone in the chat. Jackie, Dorothy, anyone who's commented, Patriotic Paul, anybody, Marion, everyone in the chat. Thank you very much. John Lawrence, Unapologetic. Good night, guys.
Yeah, I think it has connected me, so hang on, let me just take a few people in. And, oh, fucking arseholes. That's a bit of tool, isn't it?
Where are you, Nobby, you little bastard?
Oh, yeah, he's another fucker and all, isn't he? He's called some shit, isn't he? Oh, another one where you thought he was alright. Oh, I'm live, so I better be careful. No, you don't want to do that, so you want to go back. Go back. And you want to tag people.